Um, and Ira Levine, Levin,
Levin.
Levin.
Yeah.
I promise I will get it one of these times.
That's all right. It's all good.
I'm gonna just call Julie and Ira. It's easier.
That's fine.
That's good.
They are here to honor us with their gift of music this morning, and I'm just so grateful. So I'm going to be quiet and let them delight us with an opening song.
I used to think that life was just a race to reach a point called win, to be happy in the end, but the point is to begin.
Every day's a lifetime.
Another chance to choose
How I'll be remembered.
as a blessing or the blues. And what I have to give inside becomes a portion that'll keep. The love that I reap becomes a harvest that I'll reap.
Let me be remembered
As someone true,
not for what I am alone,
for who I am with you. Laugh with me.
life bursts open into spring.
Sing with me. See what harmony we're bringing. Hold my hand, and I will lead you to a quiet stream. Together we will understand the meaning of this dream. The meaning of this.
Without you, I'm a shadow dancing in the frame of time.
A scribbled line of prose, but with you an endless rhyme.
Every day's a lifetime.
Another chance to choose
How I'll be remembered.
as a blessing or the blues.
Laugh with me, and life bursts open into spring.
Sing with me, see what harmony we're bringing. Hold my hand, and I will lead you to a quiet stream. Together we will understand the meaning of this dream. The meaning of this, a book, a song, a story. Without love, there's no glory. A
What
book, a
is the
song, a
center of
story.
it all?
Without
What is
love,
the
there's
center
no
of
glory.
it all?
A
What
book,
is
a
the
song,
center
a
of
story.
it all?
Without
What is
love,
the
there's no
center
glory at all. Laugh with me,
And life bursts open in the spring.
sing with me, see what harmony we're bringing. Hold my hand, and I will lead you to a quiet stream. Together we will understand the meaning of this dream.
The meaning of
This laugh with me,
and life bursts open in the spring.
sing with me, see what harmony we're bringing. Hold my hand, and I will lead you to a quiet stream. Together we will understand the meaning of this dream. The meaning of this.
my gosh, that was so beautiful. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really, really lovely. What a wonderful way to begin our service. Thank you so much. And welcome again if you've just popped on to One Heart, One Mind. We just had a beautiful opening from Julia and Ira. Thank you. And our practitioner of the day today is Maureen Bishop, and I am going to invite her to unmute. There she goes. And she's going to give us our opening invocation, and we have a lovely quote from her. So there you go, Maureen.
Great. Well, thank you, Michelle, and welcome everyone. It's great to see you all. I'm back from Hawaii, so it's really wonderful to be in the same time zone as everyone. So I'd love you to just join me in consciousness and relax wherever you're sitting and take a deep breath. And just breathe in this beautiful day, this new beginning, the best day ever. And just know there's only one power, there's only one presence, there's one life, God's life, which is our life right here and right now. And I just know for each of us that we come together in this fellowship of one heart, one mind. We see each other as the divine expressing, because that's who we are. We are the divine expressing in this life, in these amazing disguises. So today, I especially give thanks in advance for Reverend Michelle's message on imagination. And I know that as we plant seeds and put down roots, we're out there on the playground of the mind of the divine. Just like Rumi said, out there beyond right doing or wrongdoing, we're out there having fun because we're here for the delight of God. So I give great thanks for this fellowship of One Heart, One Mind. I give great thanks for all those participating today and here today. I am so grateful. So I know this. I know we evolve together. I release my word into the mind. I know it is acted upon as spoken. I know we agree, and so it is.
So it is.
So I have a quote today, and it's interesting because this quote by Ernest Holmes is from the 1926 edition, which many people I don't think we read it that much because we had a wonderful later version, but I thought this was cute. He said, imagination taps the very roots of being and utilizes the same power that brought worlds forth from chaos. The worlds were framed by the word of God. Imagination is the power of the word, while will is the directive agency, denoting the purpose for which the word is spoken. Mankind reproduces the power to create, and in our own life controls our destiny through the activity of our word. This word cannot be willed, but it can be imagined or imaged forth into expression. I love that. I love that because he talks about imagination taps the roots of being. And we were talking, I know Reverend Michelle was talking earlier about the seeds and the roots and the growth. And this other quote, what is now proved was only once imagined. Remember, it happens in mind first. Thank you. So at this time, I wanted us to just take a moment. Just take a moment, close your eyes. We'll take 2 minutes here and just think about that wonderful field in which you plant your seeds of imagination. So let's come back into the room. Thank you. And we're going to say the affirmation for this month. I think Michelle can put it on the board here. On the screen. So say this with me. I am still and receptive to life. I let life flow through me into all that I do, say, and think. I let my life be what it is without worry or complaint. I enter into the sacred place of the soul, where complete quiet reigns and where God talks to me. And so it is. Thank you. So I release this back to the Levens. We have another song.
Yay! Well,
Yay,
you know,
Mike, thank you. That was lovely.
with this beautiful theme for today, and just going off of all the quotes and messages that we just heard, this is one of our favorite tunes. So
here's to Mr. Leslie Brickus. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Come with me and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply turn around and view it. Anything you want to do it. You want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know that compares with your imagination. Living there will be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply turn around and view it. Anything you want to do it. You want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know that compares with your imagination. Living there you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Oh, that was wonderful. Was that from Willy Wonka?
Yes, it was. Why, yes, it was.
That fabulous philosopher and master teacher, Willy Wonka.
Hey! Truly.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. And it certainly fits the flavor of the topic for today.
good.
It really does. I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. Really delighted to have you here. So, good morning again, and welcome to One Heart, One Mind, Center for Spiritual Living's online Sunday service. As always, I'm going to say that in my sleep. This morning's message kind of continues in the flavor of last week's message, which was all about play. Play as a spiritual practice was what we talked about last week. And this week's message is entitled Sparking Imagination. You know, it seems like both imagination and play have that kind of free-flowing, light-hearted quality of moving effortlessly with life, you know, just flowing with life. And I loved the quote that I shared last week from Ernest Holmes, our founder, who said that creation is the play of life upon itself. I just love that idea, the play of life upon itself. And the rest of that quote was through divine imagination. Honestly, that kind of seems to sum it up quite nicely. And I was saying earlier before, during the meditation time, that while Holmes actually had very little to say about play, because I always look up to see what Holmes said about a particular subject that we're talking about. He didn't really have that much to say about play, but he had a lot to say about imagination. And I noticed, actually, I even noticed it in the quote that Maureen gave me to share with you this morning, that he often winds the idea of imagination and will together. And as I read some of his quotes and what he had to say about imagination and will, it really did seem to help me understand the function of imagination and how will supports that function. And it seems like, while imagination is a very vital ingredient in creation, it isn't the whole story. Something must sustain that idea and continue it. I want to share a quote. I'm not going to share it on my screen, but Jim's going to share it in the chat. And I'm going to apologize up front because it's kind of a long quote, so forgive me in advance. But I didn't want to just put part of this quote. I really wanted to get the complete idea. And so this quote is from the Science of Mind textbook, and it's on page 418. And in it, Holmes writes, "Ignorance stays with us until the moment of enlightenment, until our vision of the spirit broadens and casts out the image of no longer useful littleness." So, I'm going to interrupt the quote from time to time, but that piece in and of itself is a huge idea. That is a big idea. That moment when we turn our attention away from a limiting idea, whatever it may be, and we align ourselves with the truth in spirit, we move out of our small life and we move in to the possibility of a larger life. It's that moment. It's in that moment. You can feel it when it happens. You can feel the shift when we change our focus. And that's that moment of enlightenment. So he goes on to say, what we now experience, we may cease experiencing if we have the will and the imagination to set our vision in the opposite direction and hold it there. Again, I want to stop. He's telling us it's our change in focus. It's on us. We are the ones that change. And then he really goes in with this next line. And I think this is a really important idea for what imagination is and how we use it in the creative process. He goes in and he says, "It is the office of imagination to set the vision." It is the office of imagination to set the vision. The will hold it in place until the creative genius of the inner life transforms the image of limitation and transmutes it into liberty under law. Oh, I love that. As we allow ourselves to open to possibilities that we may never even have thought were possible, we enlarge our lives. The will, he said, and we talk about how the power of decision is important in any new creation and in anything we shift. If we want to shift out of something old and into something new, that power of decision, that's the will. I am going to change my mind. I'm going to focus here. I think that's what he means here by will. We decide to hold fast to a particular new vision with conviction and with faith. It's the play of imagination that holds the vision, and it's the will that directs law, that demonstrates the vision. So I love that idea that it's really the same idea that we've heard over and over by Holmes of love and law. But do you see how, and this is what really excites me about this idea of imagination, that it's this free, playful nature that we move into as we create, along with the conviction, the decision to hold that vision of our imagination within us. You know, it's another way of looking at that whole idea of love and law, as love is the seed that we plant into the fertile soil of divine law, and then we hold it there until it becomes the color, the flavor, the state of being that we show up with. We plant the seed of our imagination, our vision into law, and then it just sprouts and takes root. Maureen was just talking about that. The moment we become willing to let go of any old limited vision and to play in the richness of divine imagination, that's the moment of enlightenment. That's the moment of the shift. Those aha moments, we call them. The moment we move out of our littleness and into limitless possibility. You know, because whatever perspective we are seeing from, that will be the reality of what we demonstrate in our lives. Which reminded me of this story that I ran across a while ago. And I was always looking for a place to share it, and this is perfect. So there was this young couple, and they had just moved into their new dream home, and it was in the suburbs. And they're sitting at their breakfast table in their kitchen on their first day, and they're eating their breakfast. And they look out their window, and they can see their neighbors' clean laundry hanging on a clothesline. Now, this must be an old story because nobody hangs their clothes on a clothesline anymore, although they really do smell good when you do that. And the woman says to her husband, that laundry isn't clean at all. It is really dirty. Somebody needs to get out there and teach them how to do their laundry. She was just blasting them. And then a couple of days later, again, they're eating breakfast in their kitchen, looking out at their neighbor's yard. And again, they see their neighbor's laundry hanging on the line. And the woman says, wow, that laundry is so clean. Someone must have taught them how to do their laundry. And the husband says, yeah, actually, honey, I just got up early this morning and washed the window. So, as it is with laundry, so it is with life. What we see from is how we see the world. And that story made me think of that part of Holmes' quote. Ignorance stays with us until the moment of enlightenment, until our vision of spirit broadens and it casts out the image of a no longer useful littleness. You know, an imagination is valuable to us when we become willing to let go of what we think we know. How many of us love to hang on to what we think we know? We always want to be right. I'm guilty of that. And we open up to what lives in potential in divine imagination, which of course is always within us. We know it's right where we are. Until we put the welcome mat out for the new vision, we will never see it. You know, I often go back to what Dr. Joe DeSmith tells us about the 60 to 70,000 thoughts we think each day. And he says that 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that we thought yesterday. The same exact ones. They're the old patterns of thinking and feeling, of being. And our ability to open up to that 5% of new thought is where we begin to transform our lives, to move out of what we think we know and move into the play of divine imagination. Doesn't that just sound freeing and opening and welcoming? It does to me. You know, we can use our imagination just like we can use play, which we talked about last week, as a spiritual practice, as a way of playing in the field of infinite mind. You know, and I think it's worth noting, and I know I've said this before in other talks, that this is ongoing. There shouldn't be any sense of finality to the vision that we hold for our life. There is no end. We live an infinite life right now. We don't have to wait until we pass from this plane of existence to be infinite. We're infinite now. It's not like we somehow arrive at the end and then our lives are either a success or they're not, and then we move on. There's no end to self-discovery. It is ongoing. There's no end to the good that's available to us. And I said this during the meditation time, nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too good to be true. And that fresh newness of life is not out there somewhere. It's right where we are. We're just waiting. The life, the ideas, the divine imagination is waiting for us to perceive it, to clean our windows and to feel it, because we know that both our thoughts, our imaging, and our feeling is what sparks creation. It's necessary for creation. And imagination draws up the idea and it instills the feeling of the vision as well, which is really great because it kind of fills both ideas. We feel it, it resonates within us. Also, when I was doing the meditation, I said to strike that chord and then to harmonize with that vibration. When we can use our imagination to open the door to the potential that is within divine mind, within divine imagination, we can use the power of play that we talked about last week to let our imaginations run away with us. You know, I love that idea, to just free flow, to not let anything hold us back. We're infinite now. You know, and of course, we have a couple of spiritual tools that we can use to help us move into our divine imagination. And I'm going to talk about two today. One is visualization. You're probably familiar with visualization. It's a very popular idea. When we visualize, we close our eyes, we go within, we center, as we love to say, and then we mentally rehearse some activity or experience that we'd like to see demonstrated in our life, in our physical world. So say we want to, for example, sell the current home that we're living in. We want to sell our home. We want to move into a new home that fits us better, that's a better fit for us. So in our visualization, we could, in our mind's eye, we can visualize seeing the person that is going to purchase our home or move into our home, whatever it may be. We can see them putting the key into the door of our old home and moving in. And we can see ourselves putting the key into the door of the new home and moving in. We can actually feel the activity of it in our body while we imagine it in our mind. And of course, as I said before, we always accompany our visualization with the feeling of how it feels to do these things, whatever it is we're visualizing. We want to keep the vision alive. We want it to be alive within us, the will, as Holmes called it, and to keep us in the felt experience of the good that we want to demonstrate, whatever it may be. So visualization, at least for me anyway, is like a visual prayer. And Dispenza also says that research shows, and I'm sure you've heard this somewhere along the line before, that our brains don't know the difference between the actual action in the world, in the physical world, and the action of our minds. I remember my daughter, when she was playing basketball, when she was in high school, her coach used to make them lay down on the gymnasium floor and do free throws. Imagine them throwing free throws, and your body does not know the difference between the actual action in physical form or just a mental activity. It doesn't know the difference. So if we want to know, what do we do when we don't know what vision we want to hold? Sometimes we don't even know what it is that we want. Well, we know how we want to feel maybe, but we don't know what is going to bring that feeling about. Have you ever been there where you really don't know what it is? You don't really have a clear vision enough to practice the visualization technique. Well, then we also have another spiritual practice. We can open ourselves up through imagination to play in and connect with divine mind and ask for an answer. In her book, Pam Grout, you guys are familiar with this. Many of the people that are in One Heart, One Mind are familiar with Pam Grout's book, E Squared and E Cubed. We used those a lot a few years ago. And I love Pam Grout because she's so funny and she really does play in divine imagination all the time. She's really, if you read her book, she's hysterically funny. But in her first book, E Squared, she talks about this principle that will help us open up to that divine intuitive knowing that's always available to us. And she calls it the Dear Abby principle. And if you're too young to know who Dear Abby is, although you did know who the romper room lady was, so you probably know who Dear Abby was. She had an advice column, and she started in 1956, and she wrote her advice column for 47 years. So Pam Grab calls this the Dear Abby principle, and it's a way to connect with that infinite field of potential, and to access accurate and unlimited guidance. You know, I know that Ernest Holmes in his book, Can We Talk to God, talks a lot about being in that connection and having that intuitive knowing. That's really what she's talking about in the Dear Abby principle. And she says that experimenting with the Dear Abby principle can give us a clear and consistent new vision. When we open to that advice that's always there, that guidance. Our whole theme and topic for August is a pause for divine guidance, I think it is, or maybe it's just a pause for guidance, I don't remember. Anyway, if you've read Pam Grab's book, she's pretty funny, and she always does, lays her experiments out, which is kind of cool. She gives a hypothesis and the question that she's asking with the hypothesis, and then she gives you a time period to do it in. This one, the Dear Abby principle, is 48 hours, I believe. And then she even gives you a lab sheet to keep track of her results and everything. If you haven't read her books, they're really great. And that one is just kind of cute and funny. And it reminded me of what we do in Science of Mind, which is the practice of visioning, which is much like the Dear Abby principle. Visioning is different than visualization. I'm tripping over the words. Because we aren't rehearsing the thoughts and feelings that will bring about a specific demonstration. In visioning, much like the Dear Abby principle, we're asking empowering questions to draw in, to make welcome, to lay out the welcome mat for the wisdom and the vision of spirit to come into, or through, I should say, our point of consciousness, through our own intuitive knowing. You know, we could think of visioning as playing within that infinite imagination of spirit, you know, because everything is contained within divine mind. And if we're playing within divine mind, things are going to open up for us. Visioning is the practice of listening to spirit's wisdom bubbling up through our intuitive knowing. And it shows itself in different ways for different people, you know, just like different people have different symbols and things that come up in their dreams. It's much like that. You know, it could be a color or a word or a symbol, whatever speaks to us. But what we do when we vision is we look for repeating patterns. You know, maybe it's always a spiraling up or a bird in flight, flying up. You know, you look for repeating patterns and those aha moments that just hit you and you know they're right. Have you ever had one of those? Oh, that feels true. You just know that you know, but you don't really know why you know, you know. So I wanted to let you all know that I'm going to do a visioning session this Wednesday evening. If you'd like to learn more about visioning, or if you just want to vision and you've already done it a million times, you know, you're welcome to join. And it's always, for me anyway, an illuminating experience to open up to that divine wisdom and to play in the imagination of spirit. And the process that we do today was originally developed by Dr. Michael Beckwith, who started Agape. And it's based on the belief that each of us is a perfect spiritual being, you know, a perfect spiritual idea held in the mind of the infinite, that we are all living our life within this one life, and that everything that we need to know or will help guide us and direct us is already available to us, you know, on this plane of existence and on any plane that we go to whenever we leave this one. We're always participating in life. We are always within life, within God's spirit, the all that is, and its nature is our nature, forever and ever expanding and unfolding, and guidance and information is always available to us. You know, and the visioning process as a spiritual practice moves us into deep connection with this universal mind. You know, and as we always do, as we're so familiar with, we always start out by watching our breath, going within, going into centering, as we love to say, watching our thoughts and our feelings as we become the observer or the witness self. And we talked about this the other night in one of our spiritual classes, is that sometimes people get frustrated when they try to meditate or do any kind of spiritual practice because they can't stop the thoughts from coming. The idea is not to stop the thoughts. The idea is to move beyond them and be the observer, to be in the place of witnessing and deciding where you want to lay your focus. You don't have to, you don't believe everything you think. You don't have to put your attention on everything that comes racing through your mind. And then we move into that place where the internal world becomes more real than our external world. And sitting there in that place of peace and love and wholeness, then we ask ourselves, we open ourselves up and we ask empowering questions. And I think empowering questions is the key here. You don't want to ask, what is wrong with my life? You want to ask, what is Spirit's, the divine imagination's highest vision for my life? And what do I need to become to empower the vision, keeping in mind that everything is created from the inside out. It's what we become that we demonstrate into the world. We change in the inside and the outside follows. We ask what we must be willing to release to empower the vision. And then finally, we ask, is there anything else, any other bit of information that I need to know to be able to hold steady to that will, to the conviction of that new emerging vision, whatever it may be. And then after each empowering question, we become still again. We listen, and we listen with every part of our being. We listen for that divine guidance. You know, as I was preparing today's talk, I remembered this beautiful, actually, I didn't remember, I ran across it when I was doing some research. And then as I was writing my talk, I thought, oh, that's so beautiful, I have to share it. The poetry of Robert Browning, I think Jim is going to share it for you. But I ran across this quote, and it was so beautiful. There's so many quotes I could share, but this one just touched me, so I thought I'd share it with you. And Robert Browning, the wonderful poet Robert Browning wrote, and I love this, truth is within ourselves. It takes no rise from outward things. Whatever you may believe, there is, and here's the beautiful part, there is an innermost center in all of us where truth abides in fullness and around, wall upon wall. The gross flesh pins it in, this perfect, clear perception, which is truth. And to know rather consists in opening out a way whence, I love this line, whence the imprisoned splendor may escape, then effecting entry for a light supposed to be without. So what he's saying is truth is within us, and that crack in us is to let out the imprisoned splendor. It's not, we are not letting in the wisdom from the outside. We are bringing the wisdom of who and what we are into the light of the world, into the beingness of the world. We let the light out that is already within us. And another idea that came up for me as I was working on today's talk was an idea that I hear often, and I'm sure you've heard it too. I often hear people compare life to a classroom. That seems to be a pretty popular the definition of life and our purpose for being here. You know, I've heard people say that they believe that we're here in this classroom on planet Earth in these human body suits made of mostly water, so that we can learn the lessons that we need to learn for the continued expansion and expression of our own individualized souls. That seems like a monumental and wonderful purpose for life. And while that may be true, we may be here to learn in physical reality what needs to come alive in us for our greater expansion and expression of the whole. But there's always been something about this idea that just seems way too practical and almost sterile to me. It seems to take away the mystery and the magic and the incredible awe that comes alive in me in the moments of my greatest connection with spirit. And I think both the spiritual practices of play and of imagination bring that feeling of awe and sheer joy into focus for us. You know, it brings our budding awareness and spiritual growth to the surface in ways that are befitting of the divine spiritual beings that we are and that we have come here to be. You know, I would, rather than think of life as this task that I have to do to learn my lessons, I would much rather celebrate the play of life upon itself, to celebrate that splendor that Browning talks about, that wants to be emerging from me, deep within me. I want to beckon that forward and have it come out to play, to spill out from my divine imagination, and for us to thrill at its beauty and its harmony and its accessibility, because it is accessible to us. I want to celebrate the intuitive knowing that I call forward through visioning, and that I'm committed to holding through my conviction and my will, as Holmes called it, of this unlimited good that is always available to us. It's available to me, it's available to you, it's available to all beings. And that sounds way more fun than having to learn my lessons. I want to play in the imagination of the divine and bring forward what is in me, the gifts that I am here to bring and to receive in a fun and an imaginative, free-flowing way. So I just want to remind us that that's what we're here for, to revel in the awe, to celebrate it, and to celebrate who and what we are. So I invite you to play today and to always open yourself up to the play of life upon itself, and to remain open, to always bring the spirit of that free flow of play and imagination into your life. When things start to feel like you're getting weighed down, and they will, and they do, ask yourself, what can I do to lighten the weight of this moment? Through play and through imagination. How can I pause for a moment of guidance? How can I change my perspectives? How can I clean my windows? You know, you can ask yourself things like, is my imagination running from my highest good, or is it running towards my highest good? You know, am I what we like to call catastrophizing? Or am I playing in the new vision that is trying to emerge? You know, am I triggering an old thought, or am I sparking a new vision? You know, am I committed to taking time each day to imagine the best for myself, to imagine the best for all life and all beings on our planet? How am I playing with this field of possibility and wonder? So I'd just like to close today with that continued simple invitation to play with your imagination this week, to move out of any preconceived notion that you're hanging on to let go of what you think you know. Because I always find that I don't know as much as I think I know. And I invite you to open to what you have yet to know, you have yet to experience, and to keep cleaning your windows. Keep cleaning away the dirt so that you are looking through something crystal clear and playful and imaginative and joyous. So I'm going to call us all in to pray now for this wonderful idea of playing in divine imagination. So take in a nice centering breath for me. We're centering again. Go with it. And know with me that all there is God, this big, bold, beautiful, quiet, and gentle, and easy presence of light. It is all that is. There's nothing else. And we are in it, multiplicity from unity, the expression of the diverse from the unified. We are all in it. And we are playing in the wonder and the delight and the spiritual principles and states of being that are available to us infinitely, for we are infinite. So I speak my word for and about each and every person that is present on this call and each and every person that is not. I speak my word for our divine mother. I just speak my word for our beloved United States of America and for all countries and all places on this beautiful blue orb that we are floating around in and anything in our entire universe. I speak my word that there is a cracking open to let the splendor out, to let the light of who and what we are, which is the divine good and God and inspiration, out into the world of form, and let it play. Let it express itself in all the wondrous ways that it is here to do in our radiant and vital health and our overflowing and prosperous lives and bank accounts, supporting us in anything that we have come here to create and want to create, in our intimate and loving relationships, in our work in the world, whatever it may be, that we may do it in the joy of creation itself. So I know that these words I speak right here and right now are making their way to demonstration. They already are. For my word is power. Your word is power. We are the divine itself speaking into natural law. And so for this, I'm just so incredibly grateful. I am cracked open in a sense of gratitude and receivership that I have never experienced before. And I invite you in with me, for we are one in the same life. So just relaxing in that, knowing that I've done my piece, I have done my part. And now we said, simply let spirit do spirit's work. And we signify our agreement by saying together, and so it is.
Oh my goodness, how delicious are you? Like this, that is incredible. It was just awesome.
Just beautiful.
It is just so sincerely beautiful. I'm so grateful that we are here with you.
Is now the time for the next song? Is that right?
Yes,
Okay,
it is. So
Now's the time. We're gonna do it.
this is
Do the offertory after. Well, actually, let's do the offertory first. You know,
Okay.
I got away with myself and I forgot where I was. Sorry about that.
that was
I
exactly.
start channeling and that's all I.
Right.
So here we are. We're going to, this is our time for conscious giving, and I am going to let one of our practitioners and our board president, Robert Brown, take it away from here.
Good morning, everybody. You probably just see one of me, but today I'm here in two different roles. One is as a practitioner, and the other is as the president of the Board of Trustees. And in my role as practitioner, we're going to do the offertory prayer. And if Michelle can get it up there. Well, first of all, I'll remind you of the ways to give to One Heart, One Mind. Venmo, Tithely, send a check to Jim Massapist, or any other way you can think of to give. Okay. So if you're giving something today, if you've got a check that you're going to drop in the mail, or just the thought of what you're going to give this week or this month, just hold your right hand over your heart and say with me, divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am, all that I have, and all the good I give and receive. I am so grateful for everything, and so it is. And now I'm going to shift over, put on my other hat as president of the board, and let's just jump into Michelle's suggestion for us this week and use our imagination. I invite you all to imagine a one heart, one mind with overflowing coffers, with all the financial assets that it could possibly need to do anything that it wants to do in the world. I want you to imagine that. And then imagine how it comes about. And how it comes about is each and every one of us contributing whatever we can financially to One Heart, One Mind. The spiritual community that feeds us spiritually, that's where our primary financial donation should go, to that place which feeds us spiritually. For me, that's One Heart, One Mind, and I think it is for a lot of you. So I ask each of you to just think about how you can increase your financial contributions to One Heart, One Mind. Maybe 1%, 2%, 3%, maybe $1, $2, $3. But each time you do your donation, whether it's weekly or monthly or biannually, however it is that you contribute, just think, okay, what was I going to contribute and how much more can I incrementally increase that? And if you do that, our imagination of overflowing coffers will come to fruition. I can guarantee it, because I know that science of mind and the spiritual principles behind science of mind work. I also know that we have to pray and take action. We have to treat and move our feet. And that's what I'm asking you to do, is move your feet a little bit more than they have been. Thank you. Now we can go to music.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we can have some beautiful music. Oh, wait, who's doing the benediction? Oh, well, you want to do it after the music?
Isn't there usually music that follows the offertory?
Yeah. You know what? If there's not, there is today.
Well, if there's only one more song, I guess I should do the benediction first. But if there's more than one,
go ahead. I think there's just one more song, so go ahead and do it.
Okay. All right. If I forgot to say that this is, and Michelle didn't say it either, which is this is the new way that we're going to do the offertory. It's not necessarily that I'll be making an appeal to you every week, but that the practitioner who does the benediction is going to do the offertory as well. You will hear some further appeals in the future from members of the board, myself and others who are members of the board. And if you look at your weekly newsletter, you'll see who those members are. So let's go into our benediction. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, relax into the seat that you're sitting in. Join me in consciousness. Join me in knowing that there is only one. There is only one power. There is only one presence in this universe and in our lives. God, Spirit, creative consciousness, first cause, whatever we may call it, there is only one. We are each individualized expressions of the one. We are each divine distributors of the divine. We are each ways in which the divine expresses itself in this physical world that it created. I give great thanks for this Sunday service. I give great thanks for the wonderful spiritual message that Reverend Michelle gave us. I give great thanks for each and every one of you who are participating on Zoom or who are going to watch it on Facebook Live or are watching it on Facebook Live or on YouTube. I give great thanks for each and every one of your participation in this wonderful, beloved spiritual community that we share together, one heart, one mind. So I release my words into the law, knowing they are true, knowing they are done, knowing they are accomplished. And together we signify our agreement by saying, and so it is.
Thank you so much, Robert. That was lovely. And now we get the music.
Listen, you know,
Hello.
you were just kind of so excited. We were so ready to play, you know, just ready. And the next song is really all about that. It's all about play.
So there's the Hindu concept of Leela is divine play. Leela is just the divine play of the universe and everything that you were talking about. So here we go. Leela's got a face on the magazine.
Leela's got a face on everything you see.
Dancing on the streets of the Champs-Elysees.
Out beyond the lights of the Milky Way. Leela, Leela, play. Leela, Leela, play.
Blinded by the lights of the paparazzi.
Singing a song of a newborn baby.
Leela tends the sick in the heart of Bombay.
She's lifting the ocean every time she waves. Leela, Leela, play. Leela, Leela, play. Leela, Leela, play.
She's the ivy on the wall.
Leela, Leela, play.
She's the rise and she's the fall.
Leela, Leela, play.
She's the answer, she's the call.
Leela, Leela,
Riotous elation, a mother's lamentation,
river flowing, drowning daughter, and the bowls are from the water. Hopeless darkness, Leela shouts, no one puts this candle out. Leela, Leela, play. Leela, Leela, play. Leela, Leela,
Ooh, that was fun.
Yippee!
That was lively.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think of Leela now.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, thank you so much. That was really quite beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, and you can tell we had a practitioner meeting yesterday because we're bringing in all this new stuff that we talked about. We did want to mention that please feel free to utilize any of the practitioners. It does not have to be right after the service. It can be anytime. And if finances are an issue and if that's what's holding you back, please don't let that stand in your way. Reach out. You can always discuss that with the practitioner that you call. We are here for everyone. And our principal, our main tool to bring about spiritual principle is affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment. And that is what we're all about. And that's what your practitioners have been trained to do and do so lovely. And please don't hesitate to call. I know that if you don't get the e-newsletter on Wednesday, let me know and I'll make sure that you're on the list. But all of the contact information is on there. And I got to tell you, these practitioners are ready and waiting and willing for you to reach out to them and really want to hear from you. So please never hesitate to ask for support. I did this week. I had a little sciatica issue, which is clearing up nicely. Thank you very much. And I reached out. I said, hey, know the truth for me, because that's what we do for each other, you know, and don't hesitate at all. So just wanted to put that out there. And next week, I'll have a little slide that has everybody's phone number and contact info that I'll flash up just in case you don't get the e-newsletter. And you can always go to our website as well. So now I just want to open up everything for discussion. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about?